Welcome to The Informant, the podcast that talks about anything and everything. We cover from sports, religion, politics, social, you name it. I'm your host as ever, Doc McLeod. So without any further ado, let's delve right into it. Right, good day my good people. I hope I find you well. I want to talk about the matrix of Zanu PF tensions. Hey, this issue, as much as you think the wind is blowing towards the west, all of a sudden it turns around and goes the east way. Right, I always believe that a critical analysis thinking calls for what we call critical questioning. Once that is put in place, it will make people to get the critical answers for the questions that they have. Because with the current situation, things seem to be all over. So as much as you talk to 1, 2, 3, 4 people, you also have got to try and put your jigsaw puzzle together so that you try come up with what looks like the correct thing. Right. A question then that will come is, what's the current situation in Zimbabwe? The current situation in Zimbabwe is very confusing and very disturbing. Reason I'm saying that is I've tried to reach out to 3 parties who I know are belonging to 3 different groups so that I get their views about this current situation in Zimbabwe. All I can tell you is, of all of the political players, everyone is engaged at their own level. When I say that, I'm saying no one wants to play second fiddle because everyone is looking at the ball. Everyone wants to win. But how is everyone going to win? Let me start by this. When you look at Nelson Chamisa, he's retired or he's stepped out of politics. He said he's inactive when it comes to politics. But that doesn't mean to say he's not making strides from his quiet corner. Nelson Chamisa is engaged. It's known he's engaged with the international community. He's also trying to put in his feeds, his feelers, and to bargain support from outside and across the globe. Then we come to His Excellency Emmerson Dambudzo Mnangagwa. He is banking mainly on his massive support. He is banking mainly for his massive support from his business elites, the people that have got money, the billionaires that he has created around himself, so that they will back up everything and anything that he wants. So we're talking about people like Kuda Tagwire, people like Wicknell, and people like Scott. Those are the people that he has built around him. He knows that with the financial power, he can make strides and he can still continue to move. Then we also have got the Vice President, Constantine Guvernika Zino Chiwenga. Right, he also is into international engagement, and at the very same time he has been given one mile step ahead in his game plan as well. Reason is because of the tensions that's between Zimbabwe and Zambia. So with the death of the former Zambian president Edgar Lungu, it is the VP who has been sent to go to Zambia to engage. As you know, that there's tension between HH Hachilema and the sitting president, Comrade Emmerson Dambudzo. That's no secret, it's on public domain. So by getting the VP to go, some people are feeling that he has also taken the opportunity to engage and sell out his idea. Meaning to say, if he did and he succeeded, then he's garnering support again from just across the border. Don't forget, Nelson Chamisa is also engaged from within the same country. So let's see how that is going to work. Maybe that will make Nelson Chamisa and VP to engage on a neutral basis, because those 2 people, they needed somebody to unite them to sit, because the dog-eat-dog kind of political game makes each and every one not to trust one another. So let's move to this. The disaster that's breaking in Zimbabwe is nobody wants to give in. And from what I've been told, it is like the sitting president is just giving and is not taking. And yet politics is all about give and take. Why am I saying this? You remember we had you remember I told you that talks have started to be engaged behind the scenes. And many people, or most people, did not believe it when I said it. It only started to come to people's attention or people's light when they saw the exiled Honorable Mzembi coming to Zimbabwe. He treated and crossed border back into his native country of Zimbabwe. And in that space, he managed to speak with the sitting president, meaning to say he crossed over because he knew he had an appointment with the sitting president. But don't forget, Mzembi is also from the G40, which has always been fighting the Lacoste, which is of the sitting president current. And at the very same time, within the Lacoste, there is a divide. So there's 3 active divides within Zanu PF as we speak. We have got the one that's now being labeled the M31 movement, which is spearheaded or which is spokesperson by Comrade Geza. And then we've got the G40, where Honorable Mzembi belongs. Then at the very same time, we've got one, the Lacoste, which is of the sitting president, which is reigning right now. So the 3 divides of Zanu PF, as much as there's tensions, they are also trying to find one another. But because of the tensions, things did not go well at the elementary of the discussions, which has led now to speculations, depending on which side I am hearing from. I've managed to make contact with all the 3 sides, and this is what's coming out of it. The arrest of Comrade Mzembi is being questioned. Is it really an arrest or it's a political strategic move? I want people to take note of this. Is it really an arrest or a political strategic move? Remember, number 1, he was in exile. Number 2, he belonged to the G40. But some members of the G40 are still in Zimbabwe. We are talking about the wife of the former Zimbabwean president, Comrade Robert Gabriel Mugabe. We are talking about Grace Gucci Mugabe. She is still in Zimbabwe, and she was a member of the G40. Remember when the fracas broke up, Chombo was also on the G40 side, but he has now been pardoned and taken back into the Zanu PF again. No, what could be the difference between Ignatius Chombo and Walter Mzembi? One from the G40 has been accepted back into the Zanu PF, but the other one has now been arrested. Was the arrest a strategic political move, or it was because of the talks that failed to reach an agreement? Like I told you, what people are saying is there was failure for give and take. They felt like the president was just giving and not taking anything from the representative of the G40 side, who is Walter Mzembi. And for that, he actioned through the ZAC that he be arrested. Let's go deep into this. Is it failure to agree that has led to Honorable Mzembi being arrested? Because after being invited by the president, or after asking or requesting to meet up with the president and given or granted the access, and after the meeting, he was not picked at the meeting, he was picked and arrested almost at the point of crossing over, coming from Zimbabwe back to Zambia, from what I am told. What could have triggered that? So another question that's still lingering in the air, is it a genuine arrest? People want to know, is it a genuine arrest? Why would he come to Zimbabwe when he knows that is a wanted, where he knows that is a wanted man? Why would he risk his life? And what is it that he's trying to achieve? Others are saying now he's broke, so he's trying to find a way back into Zanu PF so that he makes gains again from within the same political party. Others are saying it's an acted movie of him trying to come back and getting arrested. There's a message that will come. It's a matter of time before the message is laid out. Or is it like ZAC has nothing to do with discussions that had taken place between Honorable Mzembi and the sitting president? ZAC is just doing its job as ZAC independent. Then the other big speculation that's coming is, remember, like I said, right now in Zimbabwe, there's nobody with absolute power. Power is somewhat divided, and power is in portions. Why am I saying this? I will take you back where Neville Mutsvango was arrested all because of the influence that was coming from the VP. A thing that has made Neville's father to come out ranting and denigrating the person of VP Chiwenga. It's because of the friction that has always been there but was being kept under the carpet. You know, Zanu PF. So for that reason, could the arrest of Mzembi be an act by the VP exercising his powers, feeling that he has been betrayed because the M31, from what I am told, is somewhat backed by the G40. It is said that it's a unit co-united to try and topple the sitting president. The pressure coming from G40 and at the very same time M31. Is it like Mzembi had betrayed and is trying to jump boat after discussions had failed between the M31 and the G40? Remember, I told you there was an infiltration. So could this be the first sign of the infiltration that I was telling you about? Or is it an act of revenge of somebody who's trying to jump boat, wanting to move away from the unity of M30 and M4 and G40? When I spoke about betrayal, was he not the one who activated it? Because insurgents has actually taken place in the M31 movement. Henceforth, you saw Comrade Blessed Geza going quiet and told you and spoke openly that we have a challenge. This could be the challenge that I was talking about. I'll try and give it in detail, explain exactly what happened. Why did Mzembi come back to Zimbabwe, where he knows definitely that he was a wanted man? Has he been conned to believe that his atrocities have been forgiven? Is he not being used to divert attention away from the M31 movement onto him now? What is going on behind? Who is infiltrating who? And who is working with who? Unless that jigsaw puzzle is broken, it will still be very difficult for people to come up with answers. This, we are going to break it down so that we have the right pointers of what's actually happening. Who is standing with who, and who is infiltrating into whose camp, and which camp is working with which camp. Is it the sitting president now working with the G40? Is it the M31 working with G40? Or G40 is standing by itself, the M31 by itself, and the sitting president's Lacoste by itself? But we saw Grace Gucci Mugabe also interacting with the president. Meaning to say, there is a bit of communication. You cannot just go there unless you are invited. To such functions, you have got to have a special invite for you to be present. I know these things because I've been to many of these functions. You have got to have a special request, a special invite for you to be seen present there. So what could be going on? What could be happening behind the scenes? Right. After the fall of the initial talks, where does this leave the Zimbabwe Defense Forces or the Zimbabwe National Army? Because the initial talks between the M31 and the sitting president Lacoste team broke, like I said before. Where does this then leave the Zimbabwe Defense Forces or the Zimbabwe National Army? I've been given information that the ZNA wants to remain neutral. All they are fighting for now, right now, the Zimbabwe National Army, is to make sure that they steady the boat and not allow for anything violent to take place within Zimbabwe. This is what I'm told. Their hands and focus is only on maintaining calmness while the tensions are still there. They are not looking to allow the nation to break into a war, because they know once the nation breaks into a war, it will be very difficult to control it, number one. Number two, to bring the nation back again to order. Because once a war has invaded a nation, it takes years to rebuild. We might talk of more than 5 decades, 6 decades or 7 decades before things come back to peace. Because some people always want to take advantage when things are not working well. You know, there will be international influence. Everyone will be getting weapons from every corner. So from what I am told and well informed, the ZNA and the ZDF, Zimbabwe Defense Forces, or the Zimbabwe National Army, they are working very hard to contain the situation, knowing that the tensions are still very high and that people have failed to reach to a common ground. They are failing to find each other. So ZDF has reverted back to the position of neutrality and only working to stop the boat from rocking. That's all they are doing. They are pushing for an alternative, that whichever is to happen, they are believing that the case should be debated within the parliament. They are saying this should be an assignment of the members of parliament to debate it within the parliament and find an amicable solution. But knowing that some people are said to have been bought, some people are said to have been bribed, it's not sitting well with other people. They are saying unless there be an announcement from the Zimbabwean National Army that they are neutral and they are going to defend whoever makes whatever vote, then some other members of the parliament, the MPs, they are going to loosen up their shackles and put their honest vote or bid to whatever they think should be the way forward. So ZNA doesn't want anything else outside the decision to be made from the party as of now. Not much to be said in regards to this. Let me bring it in detail. Let me break out all that I've said in detail in another chapters. But as of now, let me move to something else. Take note, today I said the deal for the hospitals is concluded. I repeat, the deal for the hospitals is concluded. It's not yet announced. It's going to be announced. I'm announcing it way before it's announced, so that you know that I'm steps ahead when it comes to this information. Right, the deal for the hospitals is concluded. Hospitals are now going to be renovated. Hospitals are now going to be supplied with adequate medication. It is the next big project that's going to come into Zimbabwe. It's going to be announced very soon. Take note of what I have just said. Then the other issue, it is the one that I've always been saying. I think I spoke about it in 3-4 versions before this production. If you check in the previous versions, you heard me spoke about the Gukurahundi issue. And I've always been saying that it's a sensitive issue. It cannot just be spoken of, but it needs to be well detailed, and I need time to talk about it. If you look at the newspapers, the Chronicle, if you look at most of these newspapers, you will see that today everything has been put out as well. Another thing that I told you just about 2 weeks ago, coming into the last week, still talking about the issue of Gukurahundi being addressed. But having said that, I'm still to tell you that it is still not the right approach, and it's not the right people that have been put on the forefront to deal with the issue. In that regards, it will fail, it will falter. If the right people have been put in the right positions and the right time to speak has been accorded by the Spirit, then it was going to be the final talk about the Gukurahundi issue. But wrong people have been put on the forefront, and when I look at it spiritually, I'm not seeing the right people sitting on that on the correct table. It is the wrong people, excellent agenda to address the Gukurahundi issue. But it's not a matter of just giving. It's supposed to be discussed openly so that a compensation be discussed, and the aggrieved make sure that they accept whatever it could be, the apology or the compensation. At the very same time, I've got a question. Why is it now being addressed at this point in time? Remember, I've been speaking about it for the last 2 weeks. Now it's being addressed. We are always steps ahead. I still stand. It's the wrong people fronting the negotiation of the deal for the compensation and the apology. Get me right and get me right on this one. I repeat it. It's the wrong people fronting it. It's the wrong people on the table. It's the wrong voices speaking. So I don't see it being a success. Instead, if it's not handled properly, it will cause a lot of tensions. While it's trying to calm things down, it might boil the things out of the pot, and everything will be thrown. The kids will throw all the toys out of the pram and we'll be back to square one, if not worse, in regards to this issue of Gukurahundi. Right. I said the hospitals, take a look. We are not months away. No, we are just weeks away from the announcing of this hospital deal. And most hospitals are now going to be attended to, and the medication supply, everything is going to be to order. We've also taken lessons from Zambia. You should know that. Edgar Lungu had to go and die in Zambia, yet he has been president in his own country. Instead of having been treated in his own country, he never made the facilities to be fit enough for him to be a patient in one of his own former hospitals. Right, so he had to go and he passed on in South Africa. May his soul rest in peace. But at the very same time, the Zimbabwean hospitals are now going to be addressed. The issue is already tabled. I'll be coming back with more to explain what I have been trying to speak about in regards to Honorable Mzembi's issue and the tensions and what every camp is believing is happening behind that whole issue. At the very same time, in conclusion, just to help my brothers on the other side, right, those who are dealing with the issue of Nyoka Emabunu, it's very simple. Can you see you are actually tearing each other apart? You are dividing, you are getting divided amongst yourself without anyone infiltrating. You are busy pointing fingers at each other. Instead of doing one simple thing, engage with Nyoka Emabunu's lawyers. Very simple. Let me give you a solution. Very simple solution. Very, very simple solution. Engage with Nyoka Emabunu's lawyers. Ask them how much it's going to cost for the whole case to be addressed, be it at the magistrates or at the High Court. Bring the figure. When you bring up the figure, just create a GoFundMe. Let me tell you, even if it's said to be 1 million US the cost, GoFundMe shows everyone every penny that has been collected, and it's all, the minute you reach that, the money gets transferred to your solicitor. It's a simple, logical thing to do, rather than people collecting it in different groups. Others, like it said, remember I told you that this Nyoka Emabunu issue money collection, people are being noted. Who's collecting money, who's doing what? They are all being noted, and they are all being targeted. Don't forget, you might fail. There's an audio that leaked where somebody was saying, this is an opportunity for us to make money. It's not an opportunity for you to make money. If you call it a struggle, as you always say it, this man, his life is in danger. Hear me, his life is in danger. He comes to Zim, he will be made a sandwich. I'm telling you, what he has been doing is political serious provocation, and it's not something to temper around with. So just create a GoFundMe, and everyone who wants to contribute will contribute into that. Even if the lawyers say, and make sure you bring the declaration from the lawyers so that everything be transparent. From what I'm told, the name of the lawyer, she must come on a small little video, tell the cost, because she knows definitely there's no one person is paying for this guy. If she comes up and say, right, this whole do is going to cost 5,000 US, that's all we need. Then you create a GoFundMe. Every person who puts a contribution in, you will see it reaching out to that figure. It's very simple, because no one is accountable for that. The money just goes to the solicitor. That's a simple solution, so that you stop fighting each other. You stop the tension that you are building. Because when you say, because amongst yourself, you're already divided over money issues. Thank you very much. I'll be talking to you. Let me bring the other episodes in regards to what I had pertaining Comrade Honorable Mzembi.